watching the Western Athletic Conference on ESPN. Welcome to Abilene, Texas on a Saturday night, and Moody Coliseum is the backdrop for a very important late January game in the WAC. It's Utah Tech up against Abilene Christian. As we take a look at the standings coming into tonight, it's a big one. These two teams, identical records, 10-11 and 2-6 in the league, and both coming off of a loss. And this is a big one as they're sitting 2 games back out of Tarleton's 4-4 spot. As we say welcome courtside, everybody, Zach Carlisle with Kendra Sheehan. Glad to have you with us tonight. And I tell you what, this is a big game for both of these teams at 2-6 off of losses. This is a big game tonight.
It is. The conference record is what gets you into the postseason basketball tournament in Vegas. We're less than 6 weeks out. The time is now to start going on that win streak and build some momentum for the second half of WAC play.
Well, as we look at the players who may decide the outcome tonight, our impact players are the point guards, Cameron Gooden and Damian Daniels.
Damian Daniels, the senior guard for Abilene Christian. The Wildcats offense runs through their defense. Daniels leads the charge. Turnovers are a big part of this Abilene Christian defense. On the other hand, for Utah Tech, Cameron Gooden, the senior guard, he's the leading scorer on the team. He's coming back from an injury. The Trailblazers need to get off to a fast start, and that starts with Cameron Gooden. Yeah,
these two guys are so good, and you mentioned Gooden off the injury. They are going to need every bit of him tonight. Both teams off of very close losses on Thursday, and so both really need this one tonight as they finish up the starting lineups here in Moody Coliseum. Utah Tech off of a road loss Thursday at Tarleton. Abilene Christian a home Thursday night loss to Grand Canyon, and both teams lost by 2 points. So I think we've set the stage for what is an important night of basketball here in Abilene, Texas. Kendra, your first trip to Abilene, how have you liked your trip over from Arlington so far?
Well, I gotta say it. No better day than today. It's 68 degrees outside. The sun was shining. It was a beautiful drive over here. I know I tried to come during football and that wasn't able to happen. Got COVID, and so happy to be able to be here, healthy, and watch some great basketball.
This should be a blast. The lone meeting between these two teams this season, Utah Tech in the navy jerseys and Abilene Christian in the home gray uniforms. Both teams at 2-6 in the league. A big one as we wrap up January. Glad you're with us tonight. Off we go from Abilene, Texas, and the starters for Utah Tech as Cameron Gooden takes it on the baseline. And now that corner 3 is no good from Noah Gonsalves. As you see the starting 5 for both sides, we'll start with the visiting Trailblazers. Gooden off of the injury. We highlighted him. Isaiah Pope has been playing great for Utah Tech. Tanner Christensen inside for Abilene Christian. Second straight start for Ali Diva, number 20, in for the injured Emmanuel Allen, who's out of the lineup for the second straight game for ACU. Both teams empty on their opening possessions of the game. Second trip for the Trailblazers, tapped away, and a turnover. Damian Daniels along the other side. Turnover, we saw it on the previous possession, and we were talking to John Judkins, the head coach. He mentioned turnovers about 20 times in our phone call with him.
He did. He said the biggest thing this team has to do is take care of the basketball. He said you look at the way that ACU plays. They force turnovers. They're one of the top teams in the country in turnover margin. So he said the biggest thing is don't always have to make that extra tricky pass. Play our brand of basketball, keep it simple, and keep possession of the basketball.
17 on the shot clock. Gonsalves, the sophomore out of Lehigh, Utah. They like the way he's been playing. Of course, the last few weeks, it stays at this end with 12 on the timer. John Judkins, he has been at Utah Tech for a long time, 18 seasons now, and he just hit 600 career wins in 30 collegiate seasons about a week ago. A spectacular head coach there in St. George, Utah, and we have a late whistle and a foul with 4 on the shot clock. It looks like it's on Arion Simmons for Abilene Christian. And Kendra, that's his second foul already in a minute and a half, and Simmons has to leave the game.
Yeah, head coach Brett Tanner for Abilene Christian had talked about getting guys out of foul trouble and being careful, especially with the big man. Arion Simmons is who their offense typically runs through. They say as Arion goes, this team goes, and so keeping him out of foul trouble is certainly going to be key.
Nice pass to Diva inside. He draws the foul. There's Brett Tanner, second-year head coach of ACU. Kendra just mentioned chatting with him. They're in kind of this rut where he didn't feel like they were playing terribly. They just went on the road, lost a few, and came up just short Thursday night against Grand Canyon.
The Wildcats went on a 4-game losing skid. Then they played UT Arlington where they got a win out, and he felt like that was a turning point for this team, starting to come together, play more their brand of basketball. Of course, a tough one at home, a 2-point game to Grand Canyon. And so, but he said that loss didn't feel like other losses. They felt better about the way that they performed. Feel like they're turning a page as the second half of WAC play rolls on.
Diva with a pair of free throws, the lone scoring tonight. 5-second call, a turnover. Isaiah Pope couldn't get away, and Utah Tech gives it away.
Turnovers are going to be something to watch. ACU does their best when they're forcing turnovers, their offense stemming from their defense. Head coach Brett Tanner said they want 20 turnovers at least. He said if we can get up to 20, we typically can win that game. But he said against Utah Tech, they need at least 20 turnovers, knowing how this offense plays.
We got a field goal. Damian Daniels on the baseline to convert it in a 4-0 Abilene Christian start. Here comes Cameron Good, and you know, he looks pretty healthy out there on that leg as he's able to finish it inside. He didn't have his best night Thursday against Charlton. They're going to need him tonight.
Utah Tech went on a 5-game losing streak in the WAC, and that's when head coach John Judkins said that Cameron Gooden was out. This is his 3rd game back, but 2nd time playing back-to-back, and so we were going to have to see how his minutes play. Coach Judkins, had mentioned that he had a little bit of soreness after that last game, but he said this guy wants to play. He's a senior, he wants to be on the floor, so they're going to put him out there.
His first time playing in 2 games in 3 days since being back from the injury. Nice turn and finish for Tanner Christensen, a sophomore out of Spokane Valley, Washington. He sits at 6'10". That's some size that Abilene Christian does not have. That could be big. That's a travel on Cameron Steele, and ACU turns it over on back-to-back possessions. Three minutes in, 4 points for each side. A defensive start on this Saturday night. Christensen again. Gonzalez kicks it. Plenty of time here. Nice jump stop, but a travel. Jacob Nichols traveled with it. We've seen both sides turn it over a few times early on. Looked like he had a chance here to make something happen. That extra jump. Cameron Steele, number 5, did not score in Thursday's loss to Grand Canyon. Oh, a strip, but a foul.
Foul called
on Nichols.
On number 24, Jacob Nichols. That's his first of the game, team foul number 2.
Both sides with 2 team fouls here in this opening 3.5 minutes. Could be a physical style of ball tonight. Steele, no good. Here comes Isaiah Pope, who may be playing his best basketball of the season. These last 3 games have been incredible for number 21.
Head coach John Judkins had mentioned that when Cameron Gooden had went out with his injury, Isaiah Pope was the guy to step up. They needed somebody to take over that leading scoring position and also be that vocal leader that Cam is on the floor. And that's exactly what Isaiah Pope has done with this team.
What a pass from Diva to find the 5'7" Damian Daniels underneath. He's got a couple of field goals, and ACU retakes the early lead.
Damian Daniels is the little engine that could, is how head coach Brett Tanner described him. He's just got the energy. It all starts with his defense.
Good, and buries one going to the ground. This is a different team when he's out there for these Trailblazers. Gives Utah Tech their first lead. Diba will shoot free throws, and he'll do it on the other side. Back and forth start here in Abilene in this big game between both of these on this Saturday night. Time now for our keys to the game, brought to you by your Greater Texas Ford dealers. Kendra, what do you got?
For Utah Tech, it's protect the basketball. ACU's brand of defense is forcing those turnovers, so maintaining possession and limiting mistakes on the Trailblazer end is going to be key. Also being strong on the glass and earning those rebounds. For Abilene Christian, it's play their brand of basketball. That means forcing turnovers. They're one of the top teams in the nation in turnovers forced, and making those free throws. Head coach Brett Tanner talked about that being a struggle of the team. In fact, it being the difference maker between winning a game and losing it. Getting to the charity stripe and making those shots will be key for the Wildcats.
To your point, 9 for 17 on Thursday in a 2-point loss. 8 missed free throws for ACU. What are they tonight so far? 4 for their first 4 and the early 1-point lead.
When you talk to head coach Brett Tanner, he's like, it's the easiest shot in college basketball. It's 15 feet, straight line, unguarded. And so he says, we're good at the hard things, but we just have to be better at doing the simple shots and making those.
ACU gets the takeaway. Here comes Tobias Cameron on the move, and he will draw the foul.
Great job by Cameron getting inside, driving the foul, or excuse me, driving through the lane to earn the foul, get himself a spot at the charity stripe.
Already free throws 5 and 6 coming up for Abilene Christian. They had 3 attempts in the first half total on Thursday night against GCU. Tobias Cameron, he's in year 6. He's been here forever at ACU, his final season of eligibility, playing in his 135th game tonight as a Wildcat. The grad student out of Australia.
This is the guy that Coach Tanner says, it's his guy. He does it all. He does all the hard things that don't necessarily show up on the score sheet. He screens, he defends, he's a good rebounder. Said he's a special kid, especially in terms of leadership and effort on the floor.
Didn't have a start in his career until last season. Now up to his 37th career start these last couple of years. ACU by 3, there's the lob, and it's stolen on the backside, but Daniels was out of bounds. They try to lob it up to that 6'10" Tanner Christensen. He could be a difference maker. ACU just doesn't have that kind of height to deal with someone at 6'10".
ACU hasn't quite always had the height on their roster in recent years, but what they lack in height, they make up for on that defensive effort. They do that full court press. It's tough for teams to play against that for a full 40 minutes. They get under team skin. They got that gritty defensive style, and it wears teams down, especially over time.
It may even wear them down sometimes. They had to do that in Las Vegas last year, played 4 games in 4 days. That 4th game, they might have been a little tired going into that championship game. Gonsalves, no good.
Certainly. When you factor in they're playing New Mexico State, a team that had a bye into the semifinals. They were playing their 2nd game, going against ACU, playing their 4th.
Leonardo Bettiol, the redshirt freshman out of Italy, battling tough inside. He stands at 6'8", doesn't get a ton of minutes off the bench. They may need him tonight. Just with some height to deal with. Extra pass, thought Gooden may pull the trigger. There's that extra one again. In the corner, it's short for Frank Stain, the junior out of California. Another opportunity, and it's buried by Gonsalves. Lights out shooter.
Gonsalves is a big-time outside shooter. He does a good job of getting to the rim, so watch for that, but his perimeter shooting is what separates him from other players on this roster.
Bettiol again in back-to-back trips for ACU. redshirted all of last year and his first year playing in his collegiate career.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that isn't going to get a ton of minutes always. He's got a lot of upperclassmen that are ahead of him, but he plays hard, and he's been deserving of his extra minutes with his game.
There's the speed of Daniels to get up ahead after the takeaway. And there it is, defense to offense. We've talked about it all night so far.
It is. Head coach Brett Tanner said now they're starting to play a little bit more inspired. He said he felt like they were just lacking confidence in previous games.
Jump ball, the arrow to the Wildcats, subs for both sides. See number 2, Jayshon Jackson right there, kind of the backup point guard for Daniels. He's played and for his first time leaving the game, 7.5 minutes in. So big minutes for Jackson coming up.
Jackson's that utility guard for the Wildcats. He doesn't always get a whole lot of points on the stat sheet, but he's really good at taking care of the basketball and facilitating different opportunities for the offense.
I have an official at the scorers table. I think they're maybe double checking the possession arrow. They called a jump ball. I think it's all good, and it's ACU possession. Abilene Christian 5 for their first 9 from the field, 6 for 6 at the foul line, and they've forced 6 turnovers on the defensive end. Bettiol been big early on, back to him. Leonardo Bettiol making an early impact. He's going to go to the line for 2.
Foul call on the Trailblazers on number 22, Frank Stain.
Played for the Italian national team, now here in Abilene, Texas, and some big first half minutes for number 3.
He also brings a lot of height to this team. He gets up on the glass, he's physical, draws the contact, gets the fouls, and makes his free throws, which has been talked about by head coach Brett Tanner heavily this past week.
This is just his 16th and 17th attempts of the year at the line. Only averages about 5 minutes a game. Goes 1 out of 2 here, but he's got an early 5 points for ACU off the bench. Stain needed somewhere to go with it. Got it to Denzel Leader. Here he comes, number 14, off the bench tonight. That extra pass. The kick for Gooden. Oh, it tapped back in. Did ACU tip that in?
I believe so. I believe that was Bettiol who had tapped that one in. I think he went up to grab it and just tipped it right in. So Utah Tech fans can thank ACU for that one.
That's like the own goal in soccer, right? Kind of felt that way. That was a wild sequence. We got a timeout on the floor. Abilene Christian up by 5 here in the first half.
And we have a media timeout.
Abilene Christian in front by 5 here in the first half. The last points for Utah Tech, they're credited to Denzel Leader, but I think ACU scored this basket.
Yeah, take a look at the rebound here. It almost looks like Bettiol gets a hand on it and tips it in. What a wild sequence for the Wildcats, earning Trailblazer point.
Yeah, so should he have to take 2 points off of his 5, to give it to the other team? That's,
yeah, how does that work on
does he get 7 points for that? Basket's credited to Leader, so I don't know, it's the easiest basket he'll ever score in his career. Meanwhile, 5-point game here. Defensive so far. ACU's doing a good job, it feels like, of kind of playing their style on the defensive side and forcing the 6 early turnovers for Utah Tech.
Certainly one of the things that head coach Brett Tanner had mentioned was Utah Tech can switch up between man and zone defense, and so he said our team struggle a little bit more on that man-to-man defense, and so he emphasized the importance of taking care of the basket on the offensive side and forcing those turnovers. So far they're doing a great job forcing those turnovers, and it's led to points on offense.
6 turnovers, 8 points forced off of. Joe Pleasant hits a pair at the foul line, and the lead back to 7 for these hometown Wildcats. Gooden on a drive, contact, he's gonna finish it. What a difference when 3 is out there on the floor for the Trailblazers. He's got a chance for 3.
Certainly, he just knows when to drive in. He's smart, draws the contact, gets the basket and one. That's a big time play for the Trailblazers as they're down by 7.
Coach Judkins was telling us, you know, he came back, played pretty well against New Mexico State, missed 5 in a row with that lower leg injury, comes back, plays pretty well against the Aggies in that 13-point win at home. Didn't have his best stuff Thursday night at Tarleton, so they were hoping he could come out here and play pretty well. He has so far tonight.
He has. That was one of the things that Coach Judkins had mentioned. He said sometimes when you're out for so long, you come back, you're super excited to play, you have a great game, and then other times, you know, you just kind of struggle a bit, and it's all about finding that balance. He was out for 4 weeks. He's actually came back a little bit sooner than they initially anticipated, but things were going well with his rehabilitation and getting his injury taken care of, and so he's back out there, and they need him to put up some big-time shots today.
Cameron traveling on the baseline for ACU. The Wildcats turn it over for the 3rd time tonight. Utah Tech has actually taken 3 more shot attempts than ACU from the field, but Abilene Christian 10 free throw attempts to just the 1 for Utah Tech tonight.
That was also a point of emphasis for Coach Judkins, is having his team play through the different situations. He said sometimes our players expect to get fouls called for them, and that doesn't always happen, and so that was a point of emphasis. Play through it. You might not always get those foul calls you want.
Frank Stain, big 3 for the Trailblazers. Hunter Jack Madden on that back door, no good. Now Utah Tech a chance to go in front on a little 6-0 run. Trey Edmonds, number 2. Oh, it's stolen, no. Foul first. Foul on ACU. Looks like they're going to get Pleasant inside. They like Trey Edmonds coming off the bench. Sophomore out of Colorado. His minute totals aren't crazy high every time. Number 2 in Davie. He's only had 2 WAC games this year with double-digit minutes, but could be a big piece at 6'10".
Coach Judkins credits his defense for his size, said he's a big guy, but the way he defends out there is just as top-notch as the rest of them.
A foul on Utah Tech on the rebound on the push against Cameron, and so I think they're going to get it on Leader. They will. And that is bonus free throws down. And we're only at 10.5 minutes here.
Big time opportunity for Abilene Christian. Take advantage of these free throws. Get yourself some extra points. Get a little cushion before you head into the locker room for the second half.
One more coming for Cameron. Came to ACU all the way back in the 2017-18 year. That was his redshirt season. The next year, ACU went to the NCAA tournament for the first time, and then he was there a couple of years ago as well when ACU made their 2nd appearance and won their first ever NCAA tournament game. $11 for 12 already at the foul line tonight is ACU. Catch and shoot, it's Stain wanting his 2nd triple offline. Deba on the move, it's a charge. A charge at the foul line taken by Leader defensively.
It's a great job by Leader getting his feet set and taking that charge. It's a big time defensive effort.
We were talking, and Coach Judkins mentioned too, toughness. If it's we come down here to Texas and these teams are physical and they try to beat you up, and you kind of have to see how the game's being called a little bit, and then try to be tough right back on him, and he feels like they're still trying to figure that out a little bit when they made this trip this week, because Tarleton does very similar things that Abilene Christian does defensively.
Certainly, and I mean, coming on the road, playing in an environment like this, it's no joke. The Trailblazers are 2-9 when on the road. Abilene Christian 8-2 at home. It's a tough environment. Coach Judkins crediting the league, saying it's just gotten so good this year. It's always been good, but this year it just seems like anyone can win the regular season title.
We are up to 14 fouls, and so bonus for each side with 9:53 on the clock. The official over at the scorer's table again. I believe did they get maybe it was the foul total that they were sorting out, but it is indeed a 1-1 for Dancell Leader. Second season at Utah Tech, no good on the front end. The transfer, Jacksonville College and then Odessa College. Here he is in St. George, Utah. 3-point difference, nice feed inside. Simmons to Cameron for 2.
Simmons back on the floor. You can just feel it when he's on the floor for this Wildcat offense. He is such a facilitator, and then when he gets hot, so does this Abilene Christian offense.
Charge taken by Cameron. That's Frank Stain called for the offensive. No free throws there. Player control foul on the offensive end does not result in the 1-1, so here comes ACU back to work up 5. Here comes Daniels. Cameron in the corner. Quality look. Christensen with a board. Daniels almost got his hand in there that time. The half-court line. Christensen is a 35% shooter at the three-point line. Thought maybe he would pop that one at the top. Instead, it's going to be Gonzalez. That seems like the better option there on the wing to knock it down.
Utah Tech plays their best offense when they're sharing the ball. They don't necessarily have that go-to guy that takes over the scoring. Yes, Cameron Gooden is the leading scorer, but they do their best when they're sharing. They find that open look. Christensen passing it off to Gonzalez to get that opportunity. A great play.
That feels like we got two teams that do similar things in that situation. It doesn't feel like there's one mega superstar on each side as you see maybe from some other schools around the league. I think that's nice to see how much of a group effort it is.
It is, yes, definitely, especially for Abilene Christian as well. They don't really have that necessarily go-to scorer. Emmanuel Allen, Manny Allen is out. He's their leading scorer, and so they've really had to work and find that person that's going to step up and sink those shots and get that momentum rolling.
Jacob Nichols gives Utah Tech their first lead. 8 minutes to go in the first half, and a timeout for Brett Tanner and Abilene Christian. 6-0 run for Utah Tech. Utah Tech in front by 1 here in Abilene. Brett Tanner calling the timeout. Speaking of Brett Tanner, Tuesdays on ESPN Plus, get in-depth coverage of all things Abilene Christian men's basketball. It's the Brett Tanner Show, presented by ACUTV every Tuesday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on ESPN Plus and the ESPN app. Well, 6-0 run for Utah Tech. And Brett Tanner didn't like it, needed to call the timeout, needed to think some things over here as he finds his team down here for the first time in the first half.
Yeah, you saw a little bit of emotion from Coach Tanner as he was trying to get his team locked in. This is a team that's had that up and down season. Sometimes they fall into these little pits where they need to get out of. Calling that timeout is the perfect opportunity to get his team back locked in, just down by 1 point.
Damian Daniels on the drive. Oh, it almost went down. Bounced around. ACU is going to get another chance here, and it's Betty will know. Look at Betty, he'll go to work in the first half.
Really impressive work by Bedio there, remaining strong on the glass, getting that putback. Those second chance points are big, especially when he's surrounded by the size that Utah Tech has.
Turning, Christensen, no, gonna get it back. It's a foul on the floor. So this should be a 1-and-1 coming up. It's a foul on Bettiel. That's a nice little battle between those two inside here. This first half, Christensen and Bettiel.
Yeah, Christensen almost got those second chance points as well. Certainly a good matchup, but also foul trouble for these big men can also be a factor in this game for Utah Tech. That's something that head coach John Judkins stressed, that they can't get those guys into foul trouble, and sometimes that tends to happen with his team late in games.
Diva goes backdoor. He'll take on Christensen. And he'll be charged with his second foul. So you talked about it just now, Kendra. Pope, Stain, and now Christensen all have 2 each for Utah Tech. Abilene Christian, Bettiel, Simmons, and Pleasant 2 fouls apiece. That'll be something to watch the rest of the way.
The WAC is a physical league. Both head coaches credited the physicality, especially when you're coming on the road. That's something that head coach John Judkins for Utah Tech had mentioned is our guys got to play smart. They can't feed into the, can't draw those fouls. They can't take those charges that Abilene Christian kind of forces upon them, especially in that home crowd environment.
And he mentioned it too, those Texas teams, ACU and Tarleton and Sam Houston. Look what Sam Houston did on defense to Seattle on Thursday, knocking off the Red Hawks. 40 points is all they gave up. SFA plays remarkable defense. There's something about it. And then sometimes the games are called differently, maybe than what you're used to down here than maybe they are in Utah or up in Seattle or in California. Just traveling around, you learn about the way that the games are played as you make those road trips in the WAC.
Yeah, you have to almost feel it out the first 5-10 minutes, kind of figure out how the officiating is going to go for the game. And for the younger players, it's all about keeping composure. If you're not liking how the game is going, being able to adjust, playing smart, playing clean basketball.
Just the 4th attempt at the line for Utah Tech. They're 1 for 4. No good was Nichols. Here comes Daniels. He's fouled on the floor. It's Pope. Oh, it's a 3rd on Isaiah Pope. He's only been out there for 7 minutes. Here's a guy in Pope who has scored, averaging 25 points a game in the last 3. And he's been 7 minutes scoreless and 3 fouls in the first half.
He's been their spark for this team. Without Cam for those 5 games, he has stepped up, but 3 fouls and we still have a whole second half and 6 minutes and 50 seconds to play is not a good sign for the Trailblazers.
He's going to leave the game. Pope brings back in Cameron Gooden. They weren't sure about his minutes tonight, and Gooden with the injury. Now he's been battling back from it. Would they have to limit it a little bit? He got in foul trouble Thursday, so limited him a little bit. We'll see how that develops. They may need Gooden for more minutes tonight.
Gooden's a local product. He's from Frisco, Texas, and so head coach John Judkins said he wants to be here. His family was at that Tarleton game. They likely were going to be here tonight. He wants to play. It's his senior year. He's going to do everything he can to stay on the floor as long as he can. Defender
hit the deck in Hunter Jack Madden, and he is going to be charged with the foul defensively. Nichols on the attack, and he will end up at the charity stripe. This has been fun here this first half. Really enjoyed this. ACU built up as much as a 7-point lead. It's at 3 right now. Utah Tech staying in this thing, battling tough on the road. Pleasant returns with a couple of fouls for ACU. Nichols, the senior out of Gilbert, Arizona. 111th game played his Utah Tech career. They love the way his leadership has grown over the course of the season.
Yeah, you never want to say this is a must-win
matchup. But as we're entering that second half of conference play, both teams sitting at 2-6. Your conference record solely is what determines whether you get into WAC Vegas. The time is now. Build that momentum, get your team rolling. You want to be playing your best basketball in February as we're at the very end of January.
Right.
Can't believe it's February just around the corner. And so now is the time to get things ironed out and start playing your best basketball.
It just seems like 3-6 versus 2-7. That just seems like such a big difference right now going into next month here. This really does feel like a must-win.
For ACU, they're also going on the road next week. They've got Seattle U, who was undefeated in the WAC until Sam Houston took them down. Then you have California Baptist, who they're playing after that, another really solid team that appears to be coming into their own in the second half of conference play. So when you have the opportunity to win at home, it's imperative you do so.
Edmonds no good inside. ACU tries to run a little bit. Pleasant spinning. Oh, he finishes with a left hand and one.
Pleasant with the and one.
What a big play for Pleasant, and his story is also just so unique as we take a look at that replay. The spin draws the contact, absolutely money from Pleasant. He's a guy that was a part of this team's NCAA tournament run when they took down Texas in the first round, that Cinderella story. He transferred to Wichita State, and he came back here. I got a chance to speak with him yesterday, actually, and he said a big part of the reason he came back is the team. He's played with a lot of these guys, Damian Daniels, Tobias Cameron, and just the Abilene culture, the environment here. And this is his final year of eligibility.
Wichita, you know, back home basically to go back to Overland Park, Kansas, where he's from. He grew up playing with Damian Daniels, who grew up in Kansas City. Abilene definitely home for Joe Pleasant now. And after those free throws against Texas, he could run for mayor, you feel like, of this city.
It certainly was a big welcome home. People were excited. And this is also a guy who's battled a lot of injuries. He hasn't been healthy this entire year, so it's been an up and down season for him. He's just starting now to play his better basketball.
Under 5 in the first half and a turnover, the 5th of the half for ACU. I was looking at the turnover numbers. Utah Tech had 6 early on, and it felt like. They've only got 8 total. It feels like they're settling down just a little bit on this offensive side because they just talked about it. They can't just give it away and let ACU do their thing, defense to offense tonight.
That's what ACU counts on. They know they can get under team skin. They've got that gritty style. They force those turnovers. Then you get emotions. You get players' emotions in there, and then that starts to add to the foul problem. So credit to Utah Tech for staying in there, maintaining composure, and keeping control of the basketball.
And Gooden is at the line. Mentioned senior out of Frisco. He missed those 5 games. They lost all 5. I mean, he is imperative to the success of this team. And he fouled out Thursday at Tarleton, and it was his first time in his Utah Tech career fouling out of a game. And they came up just short. Now, they got down huge in the first half Thursday night, trailing 50-28 at the break, came all the way back and missed a shot late, falling 74-72. Nice backdoor. Oh, Cameron couldn't finish it, and somehow no points on the possession for ACU.
Yeah, to your point, the Trailblazers need to get off to that fast start. They're 1-8 when they're trailing at halftime. They need to get going. Sometimes that second half comeback isn't enough, especially when you're playing the teams in the WAC that have the physicality, that they bring the intense. You got the home environment. They were on the road at Tarleton, and so you can't count on that second half surge. You've got to start hot.
It's a tough place to play at Wisdom Gym in Stephenville. Tarleton's undefeated at home this year. So good under Billy Gillespie and that group.
Billy Gillespie, you never want to bet against him. He's a guy that
no doubt
just has an incredible coaching career, incredible story, and he always brings something new each night.
Yeah, he's been everywhere. The opposite of John Judkins, who's in his 18th year at Utah Tech. Now, he's been through transitions a bunch with this program. They were JUCO when he first got there that first year in 2005, made the transition to Division II and the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. That's a great D2 league. And then in 2020, made the jump to D1 in the WAC. And he said it's been tough. That's taking them some time to figure this out. He just doesn't have the patience all the time to let that happen. Meanwhile, Leonardo Bettiol's having a career first half. Craziness. This has been fun.
It has been. Of course, John Judkins, the all-time winningest college coach in Utah State history. And he mentioned he had a really honest conversation about the challenges of being that transition from Division II to Division I. It's a 4-year period. This year is the first year they're eligible for the WAC postseason tournament, and that's a new initiative that Commissioner Brian Thornton of the league had to have those student athletes have that postseason conference tournament experience. As we just had a buzzer
at the shot clock buzzer and the foul as well. So this is a chance for a 4-point play when we come back for Dancel Leader. What a first half, 1-point game, 3:16 to go. Hey, coming up, the ESPN Halftime Report. Myself and Kendra right here courtside, a look at the first half stats, and we'll break down the first half with highlights and analysis. It's all coming up on the ESPN Halftime Report. And this has been quite this first half, a 1-point difference here, but Dancel Leader has a chance to tie this thing up, and he hit a 3 right at the shot clock buzzer and was fouled in the process, a chance at the rare 4-point play here.
Yeah, what a play that was by Leader. We did not think that was going in. Sinks the shot and gets the free throw, a 4-point play. Great opportunity here for the Trailblazers. It's tied up with just 3 minutes to go in this first half.
32 up. Utah Tech shooting 48% from the floor. 6 3-pointers. ACU does not have a 3 in the first half. Bettiol, however, does have some points in the first half. He has matched a career high now with 11 here in the first half.
Really impressed by the way that Bettiol is playing. He's a freshman. He doesn't play heavy minutes, but he's been playing better this second half of the season. Coach Tanner rewarding him with more minutes, and he is going out there stepping up for this team, igniting a fire in this offense.
Daniels in transition. Wildcats immediately go right back up 4. Gooden and Daniels going at it here. Our impact players coming in. That matchup's fantastic.
Yeah, this one has been fun to watch. Cam Gooden is so good on offense. Damian Daniels knows exactly how to defend, to get under his skin, get in there, poke the ball away. So far, Cam Gooden doing a great job taking care of the basketball, but certainly a fun matchup as this second half continues.
Well, as good as Bettiol's been, too, that's now his 3rd personal foul. These fouls are really adding up. I think that's fascinating to watch the rest of the way with all the foul trouble we've seen tonight.
Absolutely, and it's a fine line. You want to be tough on the glass. You got to get those rebounds. It's important to get those second chance points, but you have to be careful. Getting into foul trouble in the first half is never a good sign, especially with the number of players on each team that are both in foul trouble. Certainly something to watch as we go into the second half here in just a bit.
And just for reference, too, both of these teams have been in the bonus since 10:05 on the clock here in the first half. A long first half here in Moody Coliseum.
This is my first chance getting to see the newly renovated Moody Coliseum. Shout out to head coach Brett Tanner for the incredible tour. Got to see the locker rooms, got to see the team rooms, the film room, and it's a really nice environment.
Gooden steps back, nylon to tie it up again.
That's a big time 3 for the senior guard to tie up the game 36-36 with just over a minute to play in this first half.
Cameron Steele, oh, I thought he might have walked with that. How did he not travel there? Loose ball and a jump ball in the arrow to the Trailblazers.
I'm not sure if the official was blocked by another player, but yeah, it certainly looks like travel there. He took that extra step.
They end up getting the takeaway nonetheless, and a chance to go back in front for Utah Tech. Gooden rises up, oh, it almost went down. I don't know how it didn't drop. Daniels takes on contact, ball's loose. Nichols has it. Gonzalez a chance at this end, he'll lay it in. We haven't seen a lot of chances to run for the Trailblazers. They take advantage there.
That was a great showing of defense translating to offense. That was a fast break opportunity. Gonzalez getting that shot, very important. He does get to the rim. He's a big outside shooter, but in rare cases he gets to the rim just like that. Makes it count.
First points for Jay-Sean Jackson to tie it back up. This might be the use it or lose a timeout. It is timeout Utah Tech with 25 seconds. Basically no difference between the game and the shot clock, about a second or so. What's impressed you the most about this first half? This has just been a battle back and forth. I'm giving you my right hook punch. They're coming back with their left hook. This has just been awesome here in this first half.
It is, and you look at these two teams, they have the same record. Both are coming off of 2-point losses. And so I'm really impressed by the way the Trailblazers have come into this environment. They've so far been able to handle ACU's defense fairly well, but for the Wildcats also, they're really going inside out. They're passing the ball around. Leonardo Bettiol is stepping up, and he's been a big factor of this offense so far.
So Bettiol leads the way with 11 for Abilene Christian. Gooden with 13 to lead the Trailblazers here in the half. So you figure Utah Tech will use about as much of this clock as possible here to maybe even hold for one shot to close this thing off here in the first half.
It might not seem like much, but a 2-point lead or a 3-point lead heading into the break can be that momentum push that you need. Utah Tech definitely want to maintain possession here, get that shot off, get a lead going into the second half.
4 seconds, and on the move, finishing it is Nichols, and Utah Tech will take the lead into the locker room. They are 9-2 this year when they lead at halftime, and they've come on the road for the 2-point lead at the break. A busy ESPN halftime report is coming up next. Halftime here in Abilene in Moody Coliseum. Utah Tech in front of Abilene Christian by a couple of points. And folks, this week we are all united as a coaching community in the fight against cancer with the Suits and Sneakers Games. It's all a part of the National Association of Basketball Coaches and the American Cancer Society. Visit coaches.cancer.org to find out how you can help in the fight against cancer. Yeah, Coaches versus Cancer Week is such a great initiative as we welcome you courtside again, Zach and Kendra, and I just love to see the sneakers that the coaches wear, and you got to talk to Brett Tanner about it and talk to people here around Abilene about how important Coaches versus Cancer Week is around college basketball.
It is, and it's really cool what Coach Tanner is doing. You'll see the shoes that they're wearing. They actually auctioned them off. It's something he started last year. They raised over $9,000. This year he hopes to raise more than $10,000, and Coach Tanner matches what people donate, and so it's just for a great cause. And you know, cancer touches all of us, and so it's a really good chance for us to raise some money and raise awareness also for screening and preventative care as well.
Yeah, you know, and prior to the game, they gave us these signs that we got to kind of fill out and say, who are you suiting up for, right? The Suits and Sneakers Week. So we got to fill these out pregame. Everybody in the arena got a chance to fill it out. It's really cool to see what all this is about. I know that's great for you, and you're able to write Chris Thompson's name down.
Yes.
Such a prominent role. We're so glad to hear the news about him as well.
Yeah, Chris Thompson was a longtime media relations employee at the Western Athletic Conference. He came down with Hodgkin's disease last year, and it was just this past week that he made the post that he's cancer-free. And so really excited to hear that from him. He was a great employee. We certainly miss working with him here in Texas.
And then we wrote Cassie Kelly on our name, who is a sports information director here at Abilene Christian, the men's basketball SID, who had been fighting breast cancer for the last couple of years. She officially cancer-free as well. So it's just really been amazing to be a part of it all this week. So it's been really enjoyable to watch all this come together.
And when we spoke with head coach John Judkins, he had said that his mom fought breast cancer, and when I spoke with Joe Pleasant, his mom had fought cancer as well, and so it just touches everybody. It's a great cause to unite players, and it's always bigger than just basketball on these nights.
Without a doubt. Well, been an entertaining first half of hoops here in Moody Coliseum with ACU and Utah Tech, and the Trailblazers lead it by 2, and the second half is coming your way next. Second half ready to go. Utah Tech in front by a deuce over Abilene Christian. Really fun first half, a combined 48% shooting from the floor. Can't wait to see what this second half brings. It was physical, a lot of fouls, both teams in a little foul trouble. I'm fascinated to see what we're gonna have here in the second half.
I know, you mentioned fouls. That's certainly something to watch, especially as we're in the second half and as we move towards that 10-minute mark, that 5-minute mark. Players on both sides got into foul trouble early on. Key players for each team will be something to watch as the game rolls on.
Off we go with this final 20 minutes. Arion Simmons in some foul trouble. He's got it. He's got another one. It's a charge. Offensive foul taken by Isaiah Pope. That's dangerous for both of them. And now Simmons is down, holding that wrist. It's his third personal foul. Pope had 3, so that could have gone either side. But now the main concern is the health of Arion Simmons. Let's see if we can take a look at what happened here. Tried to come down on that awkwardly on his wrist.
Yeah, and credit to Pope there. He did a great job getting his feet set and being in position to take that charge, and just it came down wrong for Arion Simmons. Hoping he's okay, as he's a big factor of this Wildcat offense.
Boy, you think about this now. This would be 2 of the top 3 leading scorers for Abilene Christian. They're already without Emmanuel Allen tonight. Simmons now getting attended to on the sideline. That becomes a big difference for these Wildcats.
Certainly, and when you mention Emmanuel Allen, he's their leading scorer, but he's also their best free throw shooter. And so when Coach Tanner was talking about we need to make free throws, and we're without our leading free throw scorer, it added a little bit more challenge to this game, and then factor in the potential that Arion Simmons can't return.
That's a turnover, a 5-second call on defense. Pleasant was locking that up on this end against Nichols, and so the turnover. And here comes Abilene Christian, down by a pair. Joe Pleasant. 5 points in the first half for Pleasant. Daniels, no good. He had a nice first half with 9 points and a couple of rebounds. Here comes Gooden, leading scorer for the Trailblazers. Now Pope. Wow, what a nice time for the first points of the game for Isaiah Pope.
What a dish by Gooden to see Pope, that open shot, and for him to be able to drain it. That's a great job of facilitating that offense through Gooden.
Diba, his 3, no good. Is that a foul on Bettiel? Well, we got a foul on somebody. Bettiel kind of went over to try to get a rebound, and I am not completely aware of what they're going to call here. Let's see. Oh, they may be getting Pope and Cameron for going back and forth. I think they're going to go review this right here. I think it's Pope and Cameron that they're looking at. 21 in navy and 11 in gray.
And that'll be a big-time review because if they do Pope, that's his 4th personal foul. Not a great position to be at with 18:45 in the half remaining.
Wonder if they're going to assess a foul on each of them. I'm not quite sure. See if we have it here. Right here, 11 and 21.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
left side of your screen there. That's, yeah, here we go. One more look at
Definitely a lot of physical. Yep, definitely some pushing there. I could see them giving both players a foul because it does look like there's a foul.
Doesn't look like there would be anything extra, no flagrant of any sort, anything like that. That's what they are taking a peek at the replay monitor. It was Cameron and Pope were the two after the miss by Diva, so we'll see what they decide to put on here. The official had signaled and he had pointed at both guys, and so we weren't sure exactly what they were wanting.
And they were just fighting for, you know, the rebound or the second chance points. The ball was actually over to the right, and they were just battling it out, that physicality showing once again.
So after the miss from Diva, the rebound was Bettiol over there trying to get it, and it's not the rebound. It's 11 and 21 that they're looking at.
I can see actually it looks more like Pope, and then Tobias Cameron is kind of trying to get away from it. Pope is coming over on the top of that shoulder, pushing inward, and Tobias Cameron is just trying to get out of it. So I can certainly see and expect a foul called on Pope. Just waiting to see if Cameron will also earn the foul as well.
They're talking with Coach Brett Tanner over there, and now they'll talk to Coach Judkins about it as well. We'll see if we can get a word. Okay, so the double foul holds, as you mentioned, Kendra, and then they turn it into a jump ball, and a possession arrow goes to Utah Tech after the double foul. So it basically turns into a possession arrow type of play. Trailblazers have it, and both players get fouls. Wow.
Yeah, now Isaiah Pope sitting at 4 personal fouls, 1 foul away from fouling out of this matchup with over 18 to play in this second half.
After just hitting his first 3 and his first points of the game. Boy, that's a big difference. 5-point Utah Tech lead. Here is Tobias Cameron. How did that not go in? It'll stay at this end.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of those shots. They go all the way down and then just somehow roll back out. That's a great look by Tobias Cameron, though, off the backboard. Just doesn't get it to go.
You know, I didn't take physics, so I don't know how that works, but it didn't go in. It's going to be a loose ball. I think it's another jump ball, and then the arrow should stay with ACU now after being switched a few moments ago.
We saw that with Cameron Gooden, a 3 that he had shot in that first half. Rimmed out, looked like it was going in, a great shot, and just rolled out. So I don't know, something about maybe these hoops here in Abilene.
Pleasant on the attack. He draws a foul. And that is on Christensen for Utah Tech. That's his 3rd. Well, these foul totals are really adding up. 2 free throws coming for Pleasant.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that head coach John Judkins had talked about is they do get into foul trouble. When they do, especially if their big men do, they tend to switch from man-to-man defense to zone just to give their guys a little bit more space. And so expect to see the Trailblazers switch to zone defense just with the number of personal fouls adding up.
Leader returns. Christensen takes a seat. Pleasant to the stripe. He's got 1 more, and he is his first miss at the line. 4 for 5 is Pleasant. The lead still 4 for the Trailblazers. Gooden led the way with 13 points in the first half, a game best. Off the ball, foul.
Foul call on the Wildcats on Tobias.
Cameron, he's called for his third. So he's got 3. Bettiol with 3. Hunter Jack Madden with 3. Simmons with 3. Pope's got 4 for Utah Tech. Christensen has 3. Nichols and Stain each with 2. That's a laundry list.
It is, and for Cameron, that's 2 fouls in a matter of minute and a half, if that. So right decision by Coach Tanner, given a few minutes back on the bench, settle in, save him, because he's going to need Cameron out there for those final minutes.
Good and high off the window. That was something to watch. Bettiol, the biggest game of his career. Wow.
You know, we talked to Coach Tanner about Bettiol. He says, you know, he'll come in for a few minutes, and he said the best thing I love about this kid is no matter how few minutes he comes in for, he always gets a basket. And so he had said, you'll see Bettiol come in at some point in this matchup, and I'll bet you he'll get a basket. I don't believe that Coach Tanner saw this many baskets coming from his freshman.
I'll lead Diva with the takeaway. Here he comes, high flying, Bettiol again. Timeout, Utah Tech.
Timeout, Utah Tech.
2-point game, Leonardo Bettiol taking over for Abilene Christian. What a second half.
I always dreamed of doing something that would make a difference, and so getting as much knowledge as possible was important to me. I love the fact that you can dream a new reality and then see it come true with hard work. Today, I know I'm making a difference, and a big part of seeing my dream come true was when I got my master's at ACU.
Get your undergraduate or graduate degree online at Abilene Christian.
For years, I trained to be the best linebacker on the field. That drive made me a top performer at the NFL Combine, and I played 5 seasons in the NFL. Now I'm working toward another dream, building my own business, training athletes to help improve their performance. I want to be the best businessman I can, so I'm getting my MBA at ACU.
Get your degree online at acu.edu.
Back in Abilene, Utah Tech in front by a pair over ACU. Hey, Thursdays on ESPN Plus. Catch the latest basketball updates, stories, and interviews from around the league with the WAC's Kendra Sheehan. It's the Road to WAC Vegas every Thursday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on ESPN Plus and the ESPN app. That's been a fun show for you guys to put together this year.
It has been, and since our move from Denver to Arlington, we've gotten to do a few in-person interviews with coaches as they cycle through to play UTA both on the men's and women's side. It's just a great weekly hype video that we do and inform everyone on the standings, because WAC Vegas is less than 6 weeks away. It's going to be here before you know it, and it's going to be a pretty big party in Vegas.
You can kind of sense postseason kind of feeling in this game. I mean, it just feels like a massive game between a couple of teams that really need a win coming off of a loss Thursday. This has a big game feel to it tonight, doesn't it?
It does, and with that conference postseason tournament, it's bigger than ever before. 12 teams make the postseason tournament, so just one team is left out from the madness in WAC Vegas. And so with these two teams sitting at 2 and 6, it makes this matchup all the more important.
Frank Stain, no good. ACU on a little bit of a run to get back within 2, forcing the timeout for John Judkins prior to the break. Bettiol already trying to add to his 15-point night, which is the best he's had in his short ACU career. His previous Career high was 11 back on November 30th against North American. So by far, not only his best game, but his best game against a Division I opponent. Been fun to watch number 3 tonight.
He's been so impressive, and a lot of times in that freshman year, I know he's a redshirt freshman, but the game starts to slow down about middle of January, and so you can see him starting to feel more comfortable. He's going up, he's very aggressive, physical, and now the buckets are just coming.
Jayshon Jackson, no good on that 3. Abilene Christian 0 for 3. That's it from the three-point line tonight. On the attack, Jacob Nichols, no good. Daniels, usually the fastest guy on the floor, and he finishes with the right hand.
Such speed and such control. His ball handling skills are very elite. He had the speed, and for him to go over there and get that bucket, that's a big-time play for the senior guard.
Foul here, Jackson defending Gooden, and that'll send us to a timeout. Deadlocked at 45, ACU closing the gap on a 6-0 run.
And we have a media timeout.
Well, over the last 2 minutes here, ACU's on a 6-0 run, and Utah Tech looking for some points to tie it up here at 45. We just continue to say it. It's just been back and forth, and now Abilene Christian playing well to close it and even this thing right back up.
Certainly, it's been over 2 minutes since Utah Tech has seen a bucket. Likely go to senior guard Cameron Gooden to get this offense going.
Nichols turning on Simmons, blocking foul, much to the dislike of the Moody Coliseum crowd. And for Arion Simmons, one, good to see him back out there after the awkward landing down here at the other end, but that's foul number 4 for Simmons.
Yeah, as we look there, yep, certainly a blocking foul there. Good to see him back on there, but 4 personal fouls with 15 minutes remaining isn't the best sign, and he's back on the bench.
Leader off the inbound is no good. We haven't seen a lot of Simmons tonight. Just 5 minutes. Most of that's had to do with foul trouble. Then he hit the deck kind of awkwardly, landed hard on that wrist, but was back out there before foul number 4. Daniels given, go, got it.
Simmons is also a guy who's had an up and down season, and so when they were on their 4-game losing streak, Simmons wasn't necessarily playing the best. He started to play better recently when his energy is up and he's shooting. This team really goes, and so they've really had to find a new person to kind of have that go-to scoring effect.
Backdoor pass, wonderfully executed. Leader to Gooden. Deadlocked again, 47 up.
Utah Tech is 1-10 when they have less assists than the other team. This is a team that thrives on sharing the ball, moving it inside, kicking it back outside, finding that open man. But sometimes Coach Judkins says his team tries to do too much. They get a little too creative. And he said, you know, a bad shot is better than turning the ball over by, you know, forcing that extra pass that's not always there.
7 assists on 16 made baskets tonight for Utah Tech. Abilene Christian 4 assists on 16 made baskets. It's a turnover. Here come the Trailblazers. Frank Stain with the left hand. Yes, he got it. Good control in the paint to finish it.
Frank Stain is also a guy that can get really hot. He has that length, he's got the arm width, which is good on defense, but when he starts shooting, he can really light it up from the floor.
Foul inside, it's on Stain. He's also been in foul trouble. Free throw, no, rather it's a foul on the floor, so ACU will inbound it. Foul number 4 on Utah Tech. Pleasant, right off the inbound, buries one.
It's great to see Joe Pleasant settle back in. We mentioned he had injuries throughout the season. He's starting to play his best basketball at the perfect time for the Wildcats.
Christensen, I thought, would have a chance to work on Pleasant, decides to kick it out. A reset with Gooden. 10 on the timer. Here he goes, blocking foul. Does that shot count? No, it's on the floor. Jackson hits the deck hard, and he's grabbing that left knee. He's a little slow to get up. It is a foul on Jackson, and it's on the floor, so an inbound coming. Otherwise, that would have been an and one. The sixth foul on Abilene Christian. So after this inbound, it's bonus the rest of the way now for Utah Tech.
Great opportunity for the Trailblazers to capitalize on those extra points, being able to get to the line.
Offensive foul off the ball here on Christensen. I will say, I mean, it's been, the calls have happened at both ends of the floor pretty consistently, it feels like, tonight. It really has been physical. They're not letting a lot go because of the foul numbers that have added up, but they have called it pretty consistently on both ends.
Yeah, very fair officiating this evening. It's tough. It's been a physical matchup, but I do think that they're calling it evenly throughout this entire game.
This thing's coming down to the wire tonight. What a matchup. Ali Diba, he's blocked away by Leader. Great defense by the 6'8" Dancehall Leader.
Yeah, it helps when you are 6'8" and then you have the wingspan to be able to get up there. That's a big-time block.
In the corner, it is Gonzalez. Big-time triple.
And what a way to capitalize on that. Gonzalez has just been so impressive for this team. He's also played a little bit of the point guard role this year, which is something that he didn't even do in high school. It's just a role he's had to step into, especially with Cam Gooden being out. And so he's a very versatile player and can drain the three when needed.
Stain called for another foul. He's got 4 for Utah Tech. Stain, Pope, and Christensen all have 4. Here it is. Just enough for that elbow on Diba. Plenty of time for Abilene Christian. Down 3. Now 10 to shoot it. Pleasant to work, reversing on that opposite side. Steal the putback, no. Couple of chances there, no good. Here's Gooden. Couldn't finish that one. Diba attacking and a blocking foul, and that's, I think, Leader. His 3rd. Oh, physical, the name of the game. Utah Tech in front by 3. This is going to be a great final 11 and a half minutes.
The community at ACUTV is exceptional. I think it's what really sets it apart from other universities and other organizations just on ACU's campus.
Working at ACUTV, I have gotten so much great experience in all different aspects, whether that was just taking on leadership roles or just learning new things and really just jumping in and being hands-on with equipment.
So the first time I walked in here, I was a high school senior, but I walked in and I was blown away by the production and the level of production ACU was putting on. And so to see the amount of effort being poured into a sporting event at ACU on ESPN was huge. And so to see that as a high school senior sold it for me. I was like, yes, I'm going to be at ACU because this is where I want to be. This is where I can excel.
Coming to college and to know that you're making content for ESPN, that's unreal for students to come in and be able to get hands-on experience that quickly. It's a blessing.
I would have never thought that I would be doing things I'm doing now. If you said I was going to be on ESPN Plus and working with professional reporters and seeing all the stuff that goes into that, I would have called you crazy because I didn't think that freshmen got that opportunity. But here at ACU, everyone gets that opportunity, and it's awesome. And I think that's what sets us apart from other universities. At a young age, we allow people to get that experience, and you only get better from there.
Really not a lot of students across the world get to be able to do what we do here at ACU. if you want to be a journalism major, you want to be in sports broadcasting, this is the place for you. But you get the tools of what it's going to be like. You know, you want to work in Fox Sports, ESPN, those major networks one day. This is where you translate it. This is where you get that exact same experience. This is first class.
Back in Abilene, Utah Tech in front by 3. Hey, the 2023 Hercules Dyers WAC basketball tournament takes place March 6th through the 11th at the Michelob Ultra Arena and the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. For more information on the road to WAC Vegas, visit wacsports.com. Can't believe that thing's coming up already. 6 weeks out, is that where we're at?
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
It's going to be here before you know it. I can't believe it. I'm looking at my travel schedule. I'm like, I'm not even spending any weeks at home. I got so much going on, and then we'll be in Vegas.
It's going to be a fun week of hoops. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday are the days of action. The bracket. Top 4 get a bye. It's going to be a fun week. Las Vegas. Ali Diba makes it a 1-point game. Anything you can do, I can do better. I mean, we're just back and forth trading punches here in the second half.
It is, and Ali Diba has been quite a catalyst for this offense. The Chicago State transfer in his second year of eligibility.
Here he is again in transition from Daniels. Coming off of a really impressive 18-point night Thursday. He's got 7 here tonight, and he gives ACU the lead. Hagen Wright into the game, number 23 in Navy. The sophomore, another turnover. Here goes ACU, Diba again. Does that count? Yes, it does, and 1. I think it's a goaltend for an and 1 for Diba.
For sure, what a play by Ali Diba to get to the rim, draw the foul, get the and 1 opportunity. I do believe that basket will count for the Wildcats.
Take a look in transition here. Another steal created by Daniels, and then Diba. And what you couldn't see there right at the end was that ball was touched as it was around the rim, so
yes,
it does count. This is a chance to go up 4. A 3-point play, it's no good, but the lead remains 3 now for ACU.
It's been really fun to watch Diba throughout his college career. When he was at Chicago State, which was previously in the WAC last season, it really felt like he was coming on, playing his better basketball the second half of the season under head coach Jared Gillian's program over at Chicago State with the Cougars. And then this year, it took him a little bit of time to figure out Brett Tanner's system. He's doing a great job.
The step back from Gooden. No good, another opportunity here. Yeah, another thought on Diba in a second, because he's had quite the ride here in the first couple of years. This ball loose, and who's it off of? It's off of Utah Tech. Daniels, what an incredible play. That's just phenomenal defense from one of the great defenders in the league. Watch this, just throw it off of him. I think Daniels was in the air, and he threw it off of Leader, who was standing out of bounds. Wow.
What a play by Damian Daniels. And when he gets hyped up, the team feels it. You saw his energy. He got Tobias Cameron hype. He is this catalyst for this team. He ignites this offense.
Daniels has played in every game he's had available in his career. And there's Diba. How about this? So he couldn't get out of Sweden at the early part of the season last year to come play ball, so he missed the first part. Then he gets hurt, and he misses the back few games of the year, decides to transfer, and is just having a breakout season with Abilene Christian here, especially these last couple of weeks. Phenomenal to watch.
I remember last year he was the WAC Freshman of the Week, and he had that might have been his first week back. They didn't even have a roster image for him, so we couldn't even put a picture up. And we were like, wait, who is this guy? It's this newcomer, because he had trouble getting back from Sweden, and so just an incredible story. He's got 6 siblings that all play basketball.
Incredible. Those are the stories that make it fun.
It
you know,
is.
just to see him thrive. That free throw no good for Gooden. stays at a 5-point difference. 8-0 Abilene Christian run in 2 minutes here. Bettiel back to work for big number 3. Offensive foul for Bettiel, his 4th. Leads ACU with 15 points. Now he's got 4 fouls.
That might have been one of those freshmen in the heat of the moment sort of fouls, because Utah Tech had his feet planted. That was Leader, had his feet planted, and Bettiel just kind of went in there with his elbow, kind of swinging at his chest there.
Gooden just 4 points in the second half so far. Here's Pope on a drive. He's been in foul trouble tonight as well. No good. Deba. Well, we've been talking about him. He's going to head back to the line. Wow. He's making us look good. We keep talking about him. He keeps doing great stuff on the floor. More free throws coming for number 20.
He is. Coach Tanner said it took him a semester to really figure it out and not only buy in to the system, but especially the defensive style that ACU plays. Coach Tanner said he's playing a lot better. He shot, 50% from the floor against Grand Canyon on Thursday night. He just keeps getting better and better. He's going to be a fun player to watch late in his college career as well.
Nichols returns for Utah Tech, and Pleasant back in for ACU as Brett Tanner looks on. Lead is 7 for Abilene Christian. In a game like this, a 7-point lead feels like a 27-point lead.
Yeah, the Trailblazers really need to get some stops on defense and start getting that offense going. Go to your guy, Cameron Gooden. He's been with the program for 3 years. He knows how to facilitate plays. Get him the ball, see if he can get hot in the second half.
This matches the largest ACU lead. Pope backdoor from Christensen when they needed it most.
Or give it to Pope, what do I know? Isaiah Pope has also been phenomenal for this team, so not a bad choice either.
He filled in for Gooden in just tremendous fashion. Tobias Cameron. Huge, long 2 to respond.
Tobias Cameron, and you can speak more on his story. It's just been so fun. He was recruited by Brett Tanner when Tobias was playing in Texas. Coach Tanner wasn't even looking at him.
Well, and Cameron got a block there, but then Gooden finished it off. Yeah, no, they didn't even know he was in the same gym. They went to look somewhere else, and he happens to be on a different court. And they said, hey, by the way, this guy's pretty good. Airballs that 3. That time, and all of a sudden he's in his 6th year, and you got a 6th year and a 5th year and 4 guys playing in their 4 seasons. Here comes Cameron again. To Daniels. Those 2 have 11 years of experience. Daniels for 2. Pope bumped, and Cameron, his 4th foul of the game. Back and forth we go. 7:14 left. ACU up 7. Back here in Abilene in this very important game, 7-point lead for ACU. This was the standings coming into today. It's actually been updated that Seattle U just lost again, 0-2 this week, but 2 teams at 2 and 6. This game's massive for both of these teams.
It is, especially when you look at the standings. Just one team doesn't get into WAC Vegas. 2 and 7, not a great standing.
Right.
And especially, 6 weeks out, you got to get that momentum. It's so crucial when you're going into that postseason conference tournament.
Glad you've been hanging out with us tonight for WAC Hoops here on ESPN. Zach Carlisle and Kendra Sheehan, the entire gang in the studio, Nathaniel Chisholm and the gang running our show tonight. ACU in front now by 6 with Pope at the line. Isaiah Pope, 15 double-digit scoring games, averaging 25 a night for the last 3. He's just been unbelievable. The junior out of Yorba Linda, California. 6 points, 4 fouls, limited minutes tonight, just hasn't been able to get going. The big free throws there to cut it to 5. Zone D here for Utah Tech. Arion Simmons back out there. Oh, and a big shot for Simmons. His first points of the game. He's been in foul trouble too.
Coach Tanner had mentioned, there's something about when Arion Simmons gets going or he drains a 3 and he shoots that bow and arrow into the crowd that just lights up this Moody Coliseum.
and gets this team going. So it's great to see him back and then get that bucket right there.
Nichols, big shot. Oh, he almost banked it home. It rims away, and here comes Daniels. Hunter Jack Madden. A good transition look. And now a fresh 20 after the O board. They feed it. It's Pleasant, two-hand block.
What a big-time play by Joe Pleasant. That is something that's going to get this team going. They already have some momentum. Way to shut down Utah Tech, especially in these last few minutes.
It's a charge. Was waiting to see who they'd call it on. Hunter Jack Madden got in there defensively. On the move was Isaiah Pope. And Pope has fouled out of the game for Utah Tech. 7 points in 14 minutes for a guy who has just been spectacular lately for Utah Tech. And now a little bit of extracurriculars going on.
Yeah, there was a little side talk between Arion Simmons and Isaiah Pope. Certainly emotions are high. Pope just fouls out. Arion Simmons also has numerous fouls. It's been a tough matchup, but got to keep the emotions under control, especially in WAC play. They're going to separate these guys.
Teams are coming over to their respective sides. That was Simmons and Pope going back and forth, and now they're going to go look at this. So they call the charge on Pope, and then after the play, those two start going at it, Pope and Simmons. We'll see if we have it. This was after the play. So
yeah,
he fouls out of the game.
It didn't look like much at first, and they just kind of started talking, and then it seemed to get a little bit more aggressive.
Those two just having maybe not the most pleasant conversation. The officials try to separate it. And a reminder, you can get a technical foul for something you say, you know, if it's to a player, official, whatever it may be. So they're looking to see if there's anything there. Obviously hard to tell if there's anything extra to add. Right now, offensive foul on Pope, and he is fouled out of the game. See if they, I mean, the odds of them being able to hear something on the monitor to see what was said,
I know,
pretty low.
And it's not like you can just try and read lips here.
Right. The bad, lip reading videos that you see, I don't know if they're going to just add something. It'd be kind of tough in that situation.
Yeah, and I don't know, because it looked like Pope was kind of saying something as he was on the ground, but then it didn't seem like it was super hostile at first, and then Arion kind of said something with a little bit of energy, so I don't know if they're looking at that as well. But either way, you have to keep your composure. You know in the WAC it's going to be physical. You're going to have these moments, and you got to stay composed, especially for Simmons. He's a senior, been in these positions before.
So here's that charge again. And then it was Simmons here and Pope on the ground, and those two talk late.
Simmons wasn't even a part of the play, so I'm not sure where the issue between both of them, maybe just in previous, matchups today.
Nothing extra added. Just the foul on Pope, and away we go. Abilene Christian with their largest lead of 9. Look at Bettiel. Oh my goodness, got on the board. Utah Tech wanted to travel, didn't get it. Instead, it's a foul, and free throw's coming after the foul on Christensen. He has fouled out of the game for Utah Tech as well.
That's 2 players for Utah Tech that have fouled out in a matter of 30 seconds. The big man for Utah Tech, Tanner Christensen, and then, of course, Isaiah Pope, who's been really leading the way. So Cameron Gooden has got to step up for this team, as well as maybe Jacob Nichols, Noah Gonzalez. Someone's going to have to start leading this charge here.
So Bettiel now. Hey, he got it, the lead's 10. Career game for Leonardo Bettiel.
Just an overall solid performance. He's getting it done on defense. He's getting to the free throw line. He's making his free throws.
He's got 17 points. Maybe the least expected performance of the night all of a sudden. Wow. 6-0 run for ACU and an 11-point lead and a foul. Hunter Jack Madden defending Noah Gonzalez. And it's a foul. We've been in the double bonus for what seems like a year. And so free throws coming here for Gonzalez.
10 years.
This has been one of the longer games. We're coming up on literal 2 hours of real time.
Lucky for all the lovely viewers at home, we thank you for tuning in for this 2-hour-plus matchup.
Been a good one. Back to 9. Gonzalez splits. Substitution, Deba back in for ACU.
Re-entering for the Wildcats, Lee Deba.
ACU trying to go. Deba up ahead.
What a great job by Abilene Christian for moving that ball around and then getting it up the floor quickly to Ali Deba. He's now their big guy up front. They can trust him. He can take those balls, make those baskets, extend the Wildcat lead to 11.
Him and Betty will each have 17 to lead the Wildcats. Corner 3, huge! Frank Stain! Gigantic second triple of the night for number 22.
No bigger three possibly in that game than this one. Utah Tech needs to get something going, sinks the three, and potentially will get the ball back.
Jackson again!
Joe Pleasant's second dunk of the night. You hear the crowd responding. Joe Pleasant is such a staple here in Abilene. He's playing his best basketball. What a time for him to come into his own.
This place is coming alive. Good and lost the charge!
Offensive foul called on the Trailblazers on number 3.
Wow. Second foul on Gooden, so he's not in any particular foul trouble. Offensive to give it back to Abilene Christian up 10.
Take a look at that here.
It went offensive before the steal for Daniels. Big defensive possession now for the Trailblazers. Foul. Leader in there with Pleasant. And it's on Leader. And he has fouled out of the game. That's the third foul out for Utah Tech tonight.
I don't think he knows he's fouled out yet.
Right.
He's still standing there.
Tell him.
He's still looking. Now he's talking to the official.
He's like, wait, oh, me? But, yeah. So foul for Leader, he's out. And I believe for the first time in the game, it'll bring in Trevin Snowdy, the freshman, number 15.
Snowdy's a guy that Coach Judkins will go to. He'll come off the bench. He doesn't get a ton of minutes, but Coach Judkins said he's been playing better as of late, so he'll come in to give some guys some rest, or in this case, 3 people follow out.
Pleasant, 2 of them to go up a dozen. Under 4. Stain hit a big 3 earlier. They need one. Corner, short from Gonzalez. Oh, up ahead to Deba. He will go on the attack, out of bounds, it'll stay at this end. Abilene Christian starting to pull away a bit. Does Utah Tech have one more run in them? 3.5 to go. To go. Abilene Christian with a 12 6-point lead starting to pull away just a bit. Here's what's coming up for the Wildcats. Long road trip. Seattle U, the top team in the league standings-wise. California Baptist, and then back home for Sam Houston before going to New Mexico State. 3 out of the next 4 on the road for the Wildcats. Off the inbound, Daniels no good. Here comes Gooden quickly up ahead for a deuce. That's exactly the formula. They needed the quick stop and the quick basket to try to get back in this game down 10.
They do. Defense is so critical here. They've got to come up with those stops and get that offense going.
Here comes Daniels. Tough shot, and then Gooden took it from Diva. Back-to-back stops. Do the Trailblazers have one final run in them? Gooden spins and scores again. 4 in a row, and he's got 23 in the game.
He has had such a good game so far. The spin move there, the veteran presence, it shows.
And one for Nichols after another steal. This is craziness. A 6-0 run in the blink of an eye. And here, so this will be a chance at a 3-point play. Here's Utah Tech's schedule. They go back home after this Texas trip, Utah Valley and Southern Utah before heading to Seattle and hosting Tarleton. So 3 of the next 4 at home. That's big to get back in St. George for a little bit. But how about this? This is 6 points in about 25 seconds here for Utah Tech.
Utah Tech is gaining some momentum. I'm not sure what head coach John Judkins is saying to his team, but they are really starting to find some momentum with 3 of their players having already fouled out of this game. Really impressed by the way they've come up with those 2 big-time stops on defense.
I mean, I feel like we didn't even have time to discuss what they just did. I mean, you're talking missed shot off an inbound right out of the timeout. They go and Gooden gets a easy layup. And then ACU comes down and they turn it over. Utah Tech comes back down, Gooden spins and scores, and then they steal the inbound and get a layup, and Nichols has a chance at a 3-point play after the foul on Pleasant. I mean, that is lightning quick and exactly what the doctor ordered for the Trailblazers. This can cut it to 5, and we're not even close to being done with 2:42 to go.
2:42 doesn't seem like a lot of time to the average person. In the basketball world, it's a century.
We got a 5-point game. How about a 7-0 run in 40 seconds? Oh, that ball got caught underneath the basket. This press doing something here. And now Abilene Christian needs a possession, and they throw it away. 3 straight turnovers for Abilene Christian.
It was just a miscommunication there. Ariane thought Joe Pleasant was cutting in and just completely misread the situation. Turnover for the Wildcats once again.
Extra pass. It's Gonsalves. Yes! 2-point game. Incredible. They were down 12 a minute ago. Diva, no. Simmons, no. A chance to tie or take the lead with 2 minutes left.
Great defensive effort by the Trailblazers. Cam Gooden's going to slow this game down a bit.
15 on the timer. Five to shoot it. Stain lost it. Daniels gonna go get it. He's fouled. Free throw's coming.
What a play by Damian Daniels. Picks the pocket there, takes it to the basket, draws the foul, doesn't get the shot to drop, but gets to the free throw line. And Frank Stain with his 5th personal foul. That is 4 Trailblazers now out of this game.
That is insane. So Stain got called for the foul, and then he throws it down. And that was a frustration for Stain because they had something going here after yet another turnover, and they couldn't figure it out in the half court. That lockdown defense there, and then the turnover right at the end of late in the shot clock there.
It's tricky when ACU gets in their defensive rhythm and they're pressing. It's hard to find those shots, and then you take a team like the Trailblazers who love to pass it around, and sometimes, there were 5 seconds left on the shot clock there, and Damian Daniels gets his finger in there, gets the steal.
A free throw to stop the bleeding for ACU. That might have been the fastest 10-0 run I've seen in a long time. 1 minute, 2 seconds was the 10-0 run. Those free throws go back up 4 for ACU with a minute and a half. It's amazing how quickly it can change in this sport. 4-point difference. Gooden, that counts, and 1 to cut it to potentially 1.
Just about to say, in these situations, you have 4 players fouling out. What do? Go to the guy who can get it done, who has been getting it done. 25 points for Cameron Gooden coming back from his injury. He's leading the charge for the team, gets to the foul line, a chance to cut the lead.
With 119, Gooden, he has 26. It's a 1-point game with 75 seconds to go.
Coach Judkins wasn't sure how many minutes Gooden would be able to play. What a performance he's put on tonight.
High drama in Abilene. Diva, big time finish. He's matched a career high with 19. Gooden, step back, no. 40 seconds. Big miss, and now the biggest possession of the game right here. Are they gonna foul or play it out? They'll play it out. Simmons. Rebound to Nichols. No shot clock. Utah Tech can go quickly here or try to tie it down 3. On the move, Gonzalez, no, foul. I couldn't tell if they wanted to try to go quick and get a 2 or if they wanted to settle for the 3 to tie it. Instead, they took a lot of time off and then missed a 2 inside.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily liked that approach. It felt like he was going in quickly, Cameron Gooden, and then he kind of stepped back and maybe thought he could get an open 3 and tie it up, and that way that ACU wouldn't have another opportunity. But now they're down 3, ACU at the charity stripe, and with 8.9 seconds on the clock.
I thought we had seen Coach Judkins signal for a timeout with 8.9. I think they're just coming out actually to clean up some blood.
It would certainly match the physical battle.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
right.
be surprised if there's a little blood on the floor.
Any blood here tonight. This game has felt like a postseason game.
It
right?
has. Stakes are high, the energy, emotions are high. It's been really fun and incredible to be on the call for this one.
Has there been a sense of urgency? Like, it's just like, we need this game to not save your season, right? That seems probably a little extreme. We got the back half of the league schedule coming up. But we talked about it briefly, 3-6 versus 2-7. Like, this just is, you got to have it. You can't go 0-2 this week. You just can't.
You can, and then especially, factor in that both these teams make it to Vegas, and then you look at the seeding. You want to get as high up there as possible. You don't want to come in that first day and have to play one of those top-seeded teams. Of course, the top few teams do get a bye for the first round, but you're playing for that seed, for the opportunity to put yourself in the best position to win in Vegas. And I'm not sure what is going on the floor.
We are leaning up quite a bit here.
We got a lot of towels, so first let's see what's happening. We got about 10 towels on the floor. The sanitation bottle is out to clean up the blood.
Yeah, coming out to clean it up. It looks like
the mop
actually
is coming out now.
I think a player got sick on the floor is what happened.
Oh, we're looking at vomit chunks.
Yeah, they're cleaning it up.
Oh, goodness.
My goodness. I mean, what a job by the staff to come out and do this quickly. I've called so many games in my career, and I've seen it. I keep saying I feel like I've seen everything. I haven't seen everything. There's something new every night. That is craziness.
I'm just thinking, where did we miss the player that just vomited on the floor? One, I hope they're okay.
Right. Wow.
Two, look at this staff go. The form, everything's incredible. They're getting it all up. They're sanitizing it. Shout out to them. And hopefully everything is okay.
Wow. Well, they're coming out to clean up after a player got sick on the floor.
And we have Jacob Nichols, who almost just tripped over somebody, and so there's a little wet spot over there. Or maybe he slipped on the floor. I don't know. We might have to get the whole floor mopped down now.
Yeah, right. We got the practice gym C available over here if we need to move the game over. That, wow. I mean, a heck of a job by the staff to come out and take care of the floor and clean this thing up. Not funny part, but the crazy thing is there are 8.9 seconds on the clock and they have to come out and clean the floor. It's something you don't see very often.
No, it is not. Gives the team a little bit of a rest and a chance to compose a game plan. 8.9 seconds, get your plays in order. Look at that.
Well, just when you think you've seen everything, folks. Well, and it was a Utah Tech player, and so they've had to kind of, mop up the kind of direction of them getting them off the floor as well, so.
Oh, yeah, hey, that can't be on the shoes.
Right. Wow. Well, we hope they're okay.
Yes. We'll hopefully get more details on what happened after the game, but.
To settle back in, there are 8.9 seconds on the clock. It is free throws for Arion Simmons. Utah Tech got the rebound. There was about 24 seconds left. They came down the floor, tried to run some sort of play. They took a lot of time off, settled for a 2 out of 3, missed it. Simmons rebounds. He's at the line to not put the game away, but a chance to go up by 4, maybe 5. Big. Simmons. He's been in foul trouble all night long, just 11 minutes. He's got just 3 points now, and now a chance to go up 5. Kendra mentioned in the keys to the game, free throws. 27 of 32 for ACU tonight. Here's Gooden, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. They'll get one off, it's no good, and Abilene Christian with a must-win at home. They get it on their home gym, 81-76.
Arion Simmons may only have 4 points on the night, but to sink those 2 free throws at the end to secure the victory can't be understated for what he has brought in just the short minutes that he's been on the floor tonight.
How big is this win for Abilene Christian?
This win is huge. You know, head coach Brett Tanner had talked that he felt like this team was at their turning point when they beat UTA. They went on that 4-game losing skid, and ACU is a team that comes on hot at the end of the season. We look at what they did in WAC Vegas last year. Now is the time for them to be playing their best basketball and getting some momentum. We're seeing that from this matchup tonight.
How good was Leonardo Bettiol tonight? I mean, he comes in, hasn't been getting a ton of minutes, but comes out here and has a career night. And he's our player of the game, finishes with a remarkable, let's see if I can find the stat line, 17 points. How good was Leonardo Bettiol tonight?
Absolutely incredible. The freshman, what he was able to do for this team on both sides of the floor. It's really cool when you see those players have those breakout games, those breakout moments. That was Leonardo Bettiol tonight.
He is going to take your headset from you and take a seat as our player of the game with 17 points. A spectacular outing for number 3 as he joins us here as we wrap it up. Boy, Well, Leo, congratulations on the win.
Appreciate you.
First of all, this thing was close the entire way. Can you just tell us how big was this win for you guys here tonight?
You know, like we came from like a tough period, like a couple of losses, and we definitely need it, especially after the loss against GCU the other day. It was a tough one, but I would say we came out really good tonight, and yeah, we got it.
I mean, this thing was physical.
It
there was
was
foul calls, a lot of guys in foul trouble. Your minutes to come in and to score 17. What was that moment out there on the floor like for you tonight to get the minutes you did and then to score 17 points as well?
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, you know, I would say that's like my first time on a big game like that. And yeah, I definitely need it for my, first of all, for my confidence and then for the team.
How physical was it out there tonight?
It was really physical, yeah. A lot of hands, you know, there were a lot of foul calls, yeah.
To finish it off late from your guys out there, they go on that 10-0 run, they get a couple of turnovers there to get right back in it. How did you feel like your guys were able to finish it off?
I'm not gonna lie, we got, especially I got a little scared, but you know, we were able to come out of it and get it done, yeah.
Congratulations on the win.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us here.
Appreciate you.
Leonardo Bettiol as ACU wins it 81-76 over Utah Tech. Bettiol finishing with 17 points in the victory. Big thanks to everybody. This has been a presentation of the Western Athletic Conference on ESPN. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. Until next time, Zach Carlisle, Kendra Sheehan, the entire gang led by Nathaniel Chisholm, saying so long, take care, good night. Thanks for joining us from Abilene, Texas.